Christian, are you struggling to find peace and contentment right now? Peace and contentment is a gift from God. And Christian, God promises peace and contentment to his children. To his children when they have childlike trust in him. What does childlike trust look like? Psalm 131, a beautiful picture of childlike trust that produces peace and contentment from God. King David said, "O Lord, my heart is not proud, nor are my eyes haughty, nor do I involve myself in great matters or in things too difficult for me." Do you see what David is saying here? Lord, I'm not running around trying to exalt myself. I'm not running around trying to make a name for myself. My heart is not proud, nor are my eyes haughty. And then he said, Lord, I'm not involving myself in things that are simply not my business. I'm not involving myself in great matters or things too difficult for me. In other words, Lord, I'm trusting that you're sovereign. I am trusting in your perfection. I am trusting in your plans. I am trusting in you, your omniscience, your omnipotence. I'm not involving myself in things too great. And the result, David said, I have been composed and quieted in my soul. Do you see it? When you involve yourself in too many things, when you try to be in control of all those things, self-torment, extreme anxiety, there's no peace, there's no contentment. You forget the promises of God, you forget the providence of God. And you're under stress. David said, no, no, no. I'm not going to fall into that trap. And the result, he said, my soul is composed. My soul is quieted. Do you see it? No self-torment, no extreme anxiety. And look how he describes how quieted his soul is. He said, I'm like a weaned child resting against his mother. My soul is like a weaned child within me. What does he mean by that? Think of the picture. Those of you who have had children, you understand this completely. Whenever, let's say, the father was holding the baby, after a while, the baby may start crying, being very restless. And what do most fathers do? They're like, honey, take the baby and give it to the mother. And what does a mother do? She knows exactly what to do. She presses that precious child upon her chest, where that baby starts to hear the mother's heart beating, which quiets and composes that child. Where the mother's loving arms are wrapped around that child, are caressing that child, quieting the concern of that child. where the mother gently whispers to that child, sings to that child. And suddenly, that child that was restless, crying, screaming, suddenly that child is quieted and composed. David said, because he was not running around trying to exalt himself, trying to get himself involved in everything and in everyone, David said, my trust is in the Lord. My rest is in the Lord. I will not forget the promises of God. I will not forget the presence of God. I will not forget the providence of God. And David said, I have quieted my soul like a weaned child who rests on his mother, against his mother. My soul is like a weaned child within me. And then he said, O Israel, God's people, hope in the Lord from this time forth and forever. Could any of you use that type of peace and contentment? Have any of you been feeling like over anxious, excessively aggravated, even self-tormenting as of late? Have you been struggling to find peace and contentment? It happens to all of us. But what's happening with David in his life at times, right? But David understood, I'm not going to get myself involved in everything and everyone. I'm not going to be the one who thinks he can control everything and everyone. I'm going to trust in the Lord, who he is and how he is. And by trusting God to be God, I have quieted my soul like a weaned child resting against his mother. You want peace? You want contentment? It comes from the Lord, Christian. And he promises to give it to those who come to him with childlike trust.